The stars above shined like quiet watchers in the black sky of Xylon Prime, a peaceful planet far from Earth. For the past 20 years, the Xyloni people had waited. They were patient beings, tall, with glowing eyes and minds made for diplomacy. 20 years ago, they had sent the first peaceful message to Earth, a planet they discovered was on the edge of developing space travel. The message was simple. We see you. We wish to talk. We come in peace. But Earth never answered. Every 2 years, the Xylon High Council sent another message. Each time, they adjusted the language, tried different frequencies, even tried visual. Messages with universal signs of peace. Open hands, calm gestures, images of stars shared between worlds. Still, silence. Earth said nothing. No reply, no greeting, just the blue planet spinning quietly in space. Now, the council had grown tired. Some said humans were not ready. Others believed Earth was simply ignoring them. After 2 decades, the council met for a final decision. We send no more messages, said Elder Varen, voice firm and slow. We waited long enough. The chamber was silent. For a race that believed in unity and connection, it felt like defeat. But the universe had other plans. Just 2 days after their final meeting, an alert shook the skies of Xylon Prime. A strange object entered orbit. It came fast. Too fast for a standard diplomatic ship. It did not send a greeting. It did not answer when hailed. It simply appeared, a shadow in the stars. High above, in the silence of space, the ship hovered. Dark, metallic, with glowing blue. Lines tracing its long body, it looked nothing like the smooth white ships the Xyloni used. It was hard, sharp, built for power, not peace. The Xylon Space Defense tried scanning it. The data returned made no sense. This structure, said lead analyst Arrow, staring at the screen, is stronger than anything we've seen. Its metal deflects every scan. Its size is small for a warship, but its energy levels are massive. Is it Earth-made? Asked Commander Tyron, his 4 eyes narrowing. The markings, Arrow whispered, enlarging the image, are in Earth's ancient Latin script. And that symbol, UNS, United Nations ship, it's human. Shock filled the room. For 20 years, they thought Earth was primitive, barely climbing out of its own orbit. But this was something else. From the surface of Xylon Prime, citizens looked up and saw the new star in the sky. News spread fast. Earth has arrived, the headline said. But why now? Asked the scholars. And why in a warship? The council called an emergency session. The ship had still not moved, not sent a message, just floating in orbit, like a predator, watching its prey or a guardian waiting for permission. One of the younger council members, Salin, asked the question on everyone's mind. Why would Earth send a warship after ignoring us for 20 years? No one had the answer. In the war room of the Xylon Orbital Defense, a new message blinked on the main screen. Just 2 words. Vigilant Hope. That was the name of the ship, and AI voice followed. Cold, calm, human. This is the UNS Vigilant Hope, awaiting response. That was it. No demands, no threats. Just a message that raised more questions than it answered. Elder Varen leaned back in his chair, feeling the weight of history press on his shoulders. He had lived through peace and war, but nothing had ever felt like this silence from a ship that should not exist. Scientists studied the ship around the clock. No life signs, no crew. It was fully automated. That alone was worrying. A warship that didn't need humans to operate? How advanced had Earth become? And why hide it? In the quiet night, Salin walked alone through the observation garden where the stars were mapped in crystal lights. He looked up at the foreign object above them, a cold reminder that their peaceful mission had reached a turning point. Maybe humans never wanted to talk. Maybe they had listened all along, and only now chose to answer. But why now? That night, across the planet, people did not sleep well. Fear crept into conversations. Debates lit up the hollow screens. Some called for peace talks. Others wanted to power up the planetary shields. The warship, still silent, drifted above, like a riddle written in steel. And then, without warning, a countdown appeared on every major Xylon network. 3 days until negotiation begins. No one knew how the ship had accessed their systems. No one knew what the countdown meant. Was it for peace or war? One thing was clear: Earth had returned to the galaxy, but not as the weak planet they had once seen. No, Earth had changed. And now, it watched, quiet, waiting, unmoving, like a beast in the sky. The signal had finally been answered, but not in the way anyone expected. The alien skies above Xylon Prime remained unsettled. The unknown warship from Earth had not moved since its arrival. It floated above the planet like a silent shadow, watching. It did not attack, did not speak, and did not respond to their hails until now. Inside the Xylon Space Defense Command Center, tension grew by the hour. The strange ship was still in orbit, holding position with perfect balance, no visible engines burning. Scientists and military officers worked around the clock, studying its form, trying to understand its purpose. Lead analyst Arrow stood in front of the main monitor. His long fingers tapped across the glowing surface. He had just completed the first deep scan of the ship. What he found made his 4 hearts beat faster. "I don't understand," he said softly, staring at the data. "It's not possible." Commander Tyron moved beside him. "What is it?" Arrow pointed at the results. "Its outer layer is covered in an alloy we've never seen. Our scanning beams can't go through it, and the energy signature is 10 times higher than any ship we've encountered, even our own defense fleet." Tyron frowned. "Are you saying Earth built something stronger than us?" Arrow nodded slowly. "Stronger, smarter, and maybe older than we think." More scans revealed something even stranger. There were no life signs aboard the ship. No heartbeat, no brain waves, no crew. The vessel was completely empty, operated only by artificial intelligence. A message suddenly flashed across the screen. UNS Vigilant Hope, awaiting response. It was the first time the ship had spoken since entering orbit. The message was simple, emotionless. It came in a calm, clear human voice. Male, with no accent, like it was designed to be easily understood by all. The room fell silent. The council was alerted immediately. Back in the council chamber, Elder Varen reviewed the report. His glowing eyes flickered as he read the words. Again and again. UNS Vigilant Hope, awaiting response. Salin, the youngest member, leaned forward. "Do we answer it? Or do we stay quiet, like they did for 20 years? Varen looked thoughtful. "This is not a peaceful ship. It was made for battle. And yet, it waits. Like it wants us to make the first move." In the city below, news of the human message spread quickly. Every screen, every news network, every communication channel was filled with the same question. Why is Earth here now? Alien citizens watched the orbit, pointing at the silent ship as if it were a ghost in the sky. Parents told children not to be afraid. Scientists argued on live broadcasts. Some believed it was just a probe. Others thought it was a test. One wrong move, and Earth would attack. In a secured lab deep beneath the Capitol, a team of data engineers tried to open a communication line with the ship. They sent a basic message. "Who sent you? Why are you here?" The reply came instantly. "You called. We listened. Earth is ready." The room grew cold. One of the engineers whispered, "They were listening all along." It didn't make sense. For 20 years, Xylon had sent message after message. Nothing came back. But now it was clear. Earth heard every word. They just chose not to reply. Until now. In another part of the planet, an alien historian named Retho began searching old records. He had once studied human development, back when they were still building space stations and fighting among themselves. But now, they had sent a warship that even the galaxy's most advanced species couldn't scan fully. Retho muttered to himself as he flipped through digital scrolls. They must have been building in secret, hiding their strength, waiting for something. Meanwhile, at the Defense Command Center, alarms suddenly blared. One of the junior officers had tried to scan the ship again, using a more powerful pulse. The ship reacted. On the main screen, the ship's lights turned red. A second message appeared. Unauthorized scan detected. Warning 1. Everyone froze. Tyron barked, "Shut down all scans, now!" The officer obeyed quickly. The lights on the warship turned blue again. Arrow looked pale. It knew. It felt our scan. That means it's not just watching, it's thinking. A silent ship with no crew that reacts instantly to threats. A ship that knows when it's being scanned. This was not a simple machine. This was something more. By evening, debates filled the council hall. Half the members believed Earth had come for peace. The other half feared a trap. Elder Varen remained, quiet until the room calmed. He spoke slowly. We once thought of Earth as a child, young, confused, lost in its own wars. But now the child has returned as a soldier, and it waits. Salen asked the question again. What do we do? Varen looked up at the ship, still orbiting high above. We wait too, he said, until it decides to speak again. That night, across the planet, one question remained in every heart. If Earth can build something like this, what else have they been hiding? The human warship still floated silently in orbit above Xylon Prime, like a shadow fixed in the stars. Days had passed since the ship, called UN's Vigilant Hope, first arrived. It had only said a few words, awaiting response. After that, it went quiet again. The Xylon Council debated every day. Should they reply? Should they power up shields? Or should they pretend this was not a threat? Across the planet, people watched the ship on every screen. It did not move. It did not leave. But it felt like a storm was waiting behind it. In the council chamber, young Salen sat at his desk, watching the data stream. Suddenly, a new signal blinked. It wasn't sent to them directly. It was broadcast on all Xylon channels at once, something that had never happened before. The message began with static, then slowly cleared into a human voice. Calm, male, robotic, but human enough to sound real. We watched. We waited. You reached. You were not ready. Now we speak on our terms. No greeting. No explanation. Just a sentence that sent chills down every listener's spine. Elder Varen leaned forward. What does that mean? Not ready? Ready for what? Technicians replayed the message again and again. There was no hidden code, no signal behind it, just those strange words. The voice seemed cold, controlled, and planned far in advance, like this message had been written years ago. Later that night, news channels exploded with the story. Experts guessed at its meaning. Some believed Earth had been watching the Xyloni for years, deciding when to answer. Others thought it was a warning, a way to tell the galaxy that Earth would no longer wait for approval. In a private underground base, a group of old Xylon scientists met in secret. Among them was Professor Emlyn, a retired space historian who once studied human civilizations before the Council shut down research. Humans never stopped listening, she said, holding up a dusty old file. They just never wanted us to know they were listening. They learned from us, watched us, maybe even feared us. One of the younger scientists frowned. But Earth was falling apart when we last scanned them. Wars, climate collapse. They had no unity. Emlyn shook her head. That's what they wanted the galaxy to believe. What if it was all a distraction? What if they unified in secret, just underground, out of view? Meanwhile, back on the orbiting ship, something new happened. A countdown appeared on the ship's outer hull, glowing in red light. A timer. 3 days. The numbers flickered on every Xylon news channel, every military system, every civilian device. No one knew how the ship had hacked their networks. It didn't matter. Earth now had the galaxy's attention. In the council chamber, panic grew. What happens when the countdown reaches 0? Salen asked. No one answered. To learn more, the Xyloni turned to an ancient archive, hidden in the vault of lost contacts. There, in old records, they found something strange. Earth had once reached for the stars before. Long ago, longer than most knew, there were signs of human probes, signals, even an early warship model sent out. But then Earth had vanished from space. They cut all contact. No one understood why. Now it made sense. They didn't stop because they were weak. They stopped because they were preparing. The ship above them, Vigilant Hope, was proof. Earth had hidden its real strength for decades. The question was, why reveal it now? That night, as the first day of the countdown ended, a second message arrived. It was not a voice. It was an image, broadcast to every screen on Xylon Prime. It showed Earth, but not as the Xyloni remembered it. This Earth was glowing, covered. In massive cities that reached the clouds, oceans clean and blue, skies filled with other ships like Vigilant Hope, moving in perfect formation. Behind the planet, a massive structure orbited, a ring of satellites, likely military. At the bottom of the image, one sentence appeared. "We are not the ones you remember." The people of Xylon gasped. Children asked their parents, "Are they coming to hurt us?" The parents had no answer. Military leaders wanted to prepare weapons, but Varen stopped them. "We do not aim first," he said, "but we must be ready." In secret, a group of Xylon hackers tried to break into the ship's systems. They thought they could disable it if needed. But as soon as they connected, the ship reacted again. Unauthorized access attempt detected. Warning 2. Everyone froze. Commander Tyron ordered all cyber activity to stop. One more warning, and it might not be a message. The Council agreed. No more pushing, no more scans. They would wait. Now 2 warnings had been given, and 1 day had passed. The warship still didn't move. But the feeling on the planet was clear. Earth was not here to ask for permission, and in just 2 days the rest of the galaxy would find out why. Because Earth had spoken, and it would not be ignored again. Red numbers glowed on the hull of the human warship Vigilant Hope, high above Xylon Prime. It was now the 2nd day since the mysterious Earth ship had revealed itself. Every hour, the fear on the planet grew stronger. People across Xylon Prime watched the sky with worry. In homes, in schools, in public halls, the countdown was all anyone talked about. News anchors repeated the human message again and again. "We are not the ones you remember." Inside the council chamber, Elder Varen sat quietly, deep in thought. Salen, the youngest member, stood beside a large screen, pointing at data. "They're not answering our messages anymore," Salen said. "They just sent the countdown and the image of their planet." "They don't want to talk," said Commander Tyron, who had joined the council temporarily. "They want to be seen. They want us to feel their power." Arrow, the lead analyst, entered the chamber holding a tablet. "We've found something. Something strange." Everyone turned. "We've scanned the ship again, but gently this time. Not a full scan, just passive tracking. There are signals being sent inside the ship, but not from Xylon." Varen frowned. "Then from where?" From deep space, Arrow said. Somewhere behind our star system, a relay signal, very powerful. I believe the Vigilant Hope is not acting alone. It's part of something larger. That sent a chill through the room. What if there are more ships? Salin asked. What if this is just the first? Arrow nodded. I think Earth has created a fleet. We've only seen one. But I fear there are many more waiting. Outside, in the capital city of Varax, protests broke out. People were divided. Some believed Earth came for peace, but in a new, powerful form. Others believed war was coming. One group even welcomed the humans, waving signs that said, "Let Earth lead." Another group shouted, "Shut them out! Xylon for Xylons!" Fear was spreading like fire. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the science district, Professor Emlyn met with a secret team of historians and signal analysts. She showed them an old file, something she had hidden for years. I found this 30 cycles ago, she said. It's a recording from Earth, a very old one, from before they went silent. She played it. The voice was human, male, calm. We will disappear to rebuild, not for fear, but for readiness. When we return, we will not ask to be heard. We will make them listen. No one in the room spoke for several minutes. A young analyst whispered, "They planned this. Even back then." "Yes," Emlyn said. "They weren't weak. They were patient." Back in orbit, the Vigilant Hope sent another short message. This time it was different. It said, Phase 2, prepare for contact. And then, for the first time, the ship moved. Slowly, it rotated to face Xylon Prime's surface. Its lower section opened like a blooming metal flower, revealing a glowing sphere in its core. Energy readings spiked across every scan. The Council was alerted immediately. "What is that?" Tyron asked, alarmed. "It's not a weapon," Arrow said. "At least, not yet. It could be a transmitter, a device for communication or projection." Within minutes, the device activated. A blue beam of light shot down to the surface, not a laser, not an attack. It hit an empty field outside the capital. In that beam, something began to appear. A figure, human-shaped. The people of Xylon watched in silence as the light formed a man in dark armor. Not solid, more like a hologram, but sharp and real. His face was hidden by a helmet. His voice came next, clear, calm, deep. "I am Commander Rel of the United Earth Alliance. This is a peaceful introduction. We come not to conquer, but to warn." The word echoed through every city, every home. "Warn?" Salin repeated, confused. Commander Rel continued. "Your signals were heard 20 years ago. At that time, Earth was changing. We needed silence to prepare. We have now returned with truth, not threats, but we are not alone, and neither are you." The hologram flickered, then showed an image behind him. A dark fleet of ships, not from Earth. Alien ships, sharp, spiky, black like shadows. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. "These are the Varkeen," Rel said, "a race that sees diplomacy as weakness. They have destroyed 12 worlds in the last 20 years. They are heading your way. Earth intercepted them. That is why we came." Varin stood up from his chair, stunned. "Earth came to protect us." Rel's voice finished with a final message. "You asked us to speak. Now we speak clearly. Stand with us, or stand alone. When the countdown ends, the galaxy changes. And just like that, the hologram vanished. In orbit, Vigilant Hope returned to its silent state. But now, the Xyloni knew the truth. Earth hadn't come to conquer. It had come to warn, and behind it, a greater threat waited. The countdown continued. The countdown now showed. One full day remained. Xylon Prime was a world standing on the edge of something unknown. After years of silence, Earth had returned, not as a weak, broken planet, but as a hidden power. And now the truth was spreading fast. Earth was not here to invade. It had come with a warning. The Varkeen were coming, a shadow fleet, a race of destroyers. They had already wiped out 12 other worlds. Earth had followed their trail, building in silence, hiding their strength, waiting for the right moment. Now, that moment had come. Inside the council hall, the leaders were split. Commander Tyron wanted to prepare weapons. "We don't know if this is real," he argued. "This could still be Earth's trick. Fear is a weapon, too." But Elder Varen disagreed. "Why would they wait 20 years just to scare us? If they wanted war, they could have destroyed us already." Salen watched the countdown and whispered, "What happens when it reaches 0? No one answered. Meanwhile, in a secret lab deep under the Capitol, Professor Emlyn and her team worked around the clock. They were decoding the image of the Varkeen fleet that Earth had shown. Emlyn tapped the screen. "There," she said. "Those ship designs, they match ruins found on 3 other dead worlds. All of them were destroyed. No survivors." One of her assistants, a young signal analyst, leaned closer. "So it's true? The Varkeen are real?" "Yes," Emlyn said. "And Earth was the only one watching them, studying them, tracking them." She paused. "And maybe stopping them." Back in orbit, Vigilant Hope remained still. But now, the sphere at its center was glowing brighter. Energy continued to build, but there was no sign of attack. It was as if the ship was charging for something bigger, something not yet revealed. Then another message arrived. It wasn't sent through screens this time. It was projected directly into the minds of every Xylon leader. A mental transmission. Cold, direct, human. "We are activating Phase 3. Prepare for strategic alignment." Planetary defense map uploaded. Across the Capitol, massive screens lit up. A full 3D map of Xylon Prime appeared, but it wasn't made by Xylon scientists. It was made by Earth. Red lines showed weak spots in Xylon's defenses. Yellow markers pointed to areas that would fall first in an invasion. And blue zones showed where Earth's help could hold back the Varkeen. It was terrifying and impressive. "They know everything about our planet," Tyron said quietly. "Everything." Salen's voice shook. "They mapped our weaknesses better than we ever did," Varen said. "And yet, they haven't attacked us. They offered help instead." Meanwhile, panic and hope spread through the cities. Some citizens cheered Earth's help. Others still doubted them. And in the darkest corners, strange messages began to appear. Someone, or something, was sending secret transmissions into the underground networks. The messages said, "Earth lies. The Varkeen come because of them. Don't trust the blue lights." Emlyn saw the messages and narrowed her eyes. "This is not local. This is interference. Someone is trying to make us doubt Earth." Then she paused. "What if it's the Varkeen?" Her team fell silent. She continued. "What if they know Earth warned us? What if they're trying to make us fight among ourselves?" At that moment, all across the system, deep space scanners lit up. A new signal was detected. Unknown, silent, huge. It was a fleet, dozens of ships, moving fast. No response to hails, no ID beacons, black hulls, no lights, and cold engine signatures. The Varkeen had arrived. A red alert blared across Xylon. Prime, civilians were told to shelter. Defense satellites activated. The planet's own ships moved into high orbit. But Vigilant Hope did not move. It only sent one message. "Stand down. They are not here for you." And then, Earth acted. 6 more ships uncloaked from behind the moon human ships, just like Vigilant Hope. Silent, ready, powerful. Everyone on Xylon stared at the sky in shock. They were here, all along, Salen said. Varen nodded slowly. Earth didn't come alone. The sky above Xylon Prime now held two great powers, the Varkeen fleet, silent and watching, and Earth's hidden fleet now revealed. For the first time in decades, war was coming, but not the war Xylon expected. It wasn't Earth versus Xylon. It was Earth versus something worse, and Xylon stood in the middle. The countdown ticked lower. 1 half-day remained, but the galaxy would never be the same again. The countdown showed, 6 DAO only, 6 hours left. Above Xylon Prime, the sky was filled with ships. On one side, the Earth fleet hovered, silent but ready. On the other, the Varkeen ships waited like shadows, cold and still. The two forces faced each other in orbit, like predators circling before a fight. Xylon's own defense ships floated, between them, unsure which side they belonged to. Inside the council chamber, Elder Varen stood at the center, watching the data streams on a large screen. Salen stood beside him, reading reports. "No message from the Varkeen," Salen said. "No response. No sound. Just silence." Commander Tyron walked in. "They're not here to talk. They never talk. The Varkeen erase planets. That's their message." Outside, panic spread across the capital. People filled shelters. Power grids were overloaded. Ships were grounded. Soldiers moved through the streets. Everyone knew a battle was coming, but no one knew when the first strike would land, or who would fire it. Then, without warning, one of the Varkeen ships moved. It shot forward like a spear, straight toward Vigilant Hope. The human ship did not move, not at first. It let the Varkeen get closer. Then, at the last second, Earth answered. Vigilant Hope unleashed a blue pulse from its central core. It wasn't a weapon in the normal sense. It was something else. A controlled wave of energy hit the Varkeen ship mid-flight, slowing it down, freezing it in place. And then, like a silent explosion, the Varkeen ship shattered into glowing dust. It never made a sound. The rest of the Varkeen fleet responded instantly. Dozens of black ships moved at once, heading toward the Earth fleet and Xylon's orbit. Lights on the horizon turned red. Space around the planet became a battlefield. The war had started. Human ships opened fire, not with old-style missiles or lasers, but with something new. Bright beams, fast pulses, and strange bending fields that cut through Varkeen armor. Earth had evolved. Their weapons were sharp, silent, and terrifying. The Varkeen didn't scream. They didn't slow down. They kept coming. Earth held the line. From the surface, the people of Xylon watched the sky burn with flashes of light. Explosions bloomed in space like brief stars. The sound came a few seconds later, distant rumbles from the atmosphere. Inside, the secret science base, Professor Emlyn watched the data feeds. "This is not just a battle," she said. "It's a test. Earth wants to show us what they became." One of her assistants said, "And the Varkeen want to destroy both of us." Then something strange happened. A small group of Varkeen ships broke away from the main fight. They changed course and headed directly toward the surface of Xylon Prime. Salen received the alert. "They're diving, heading for the capital." "Activate all planetary shields," Tyron shouted. But it was too late. One Varkeen ship made it through. It didn't fire a weapon. Instead, it crashed straight into the desert, just outside the capital. A huge explosion rocked the ground. Military teams were sent to the crash site. When they arrived, they didn't find broken metal. They found something alive. A single Varkeen soldier had survived the crash. It stood taller than a man, covered in black armor like living stone. It had no face, just a mask with a single red eye that glowed in the dark. It didn't attack. It didn't run. It simply said, in a deep, broken voice, "Too late. Too late." You opened the door, and then it died. Back in orbit, Earth's ships continued to fight, pushing the Varkeen fleet back. Vigilant Hope fired again and again, cutting through the enemy with clean, bright energy. But the Varkeen didn't come to win a single battle. They came to send a message of their own, and Earth knew it. Inside Vigilant Hope, a signal was sent. Not to the Varkeen, but to Xylon. Another transmission filled every screen, every radio, every public tower. It showed Commander Rel again. This time his voice was louder, sharper. This was only a scout fleet, a test. The Varkeen are not finished. They have seen your world now, and they will come back, stronger, bigger, faster. He paused. Earth stood alone once, never again. We offer unity. We offer protection. We offer power. But you must decide. Stand with us, or face extinction. The screen went black. Silence followed. The countdown ticked lower. 30. Half an hour left, and now the decision was clear. Xylon must choose. Not between peace and war, but between fear and survival. Because the galaxy had changed, and the humans were no longer asking. Only 30 minutes remained. The skies above Xylon Prime glowed with fire. The last Varkeen scout ships had been destroyed. Earth's fleet hovered in silent formation, engines pulsing softly like calm hearts after battle. The people of Xylon stared upward, not with fear anymore, but with awe. Earth had saved them, but the question still hung heavy in the air. Why had they returned now? What was coming next? Inside the council chamber, Elder Varen stood at the center, his hands behind his back, eyes locked on the countdown screen. Salen sat nearby, quiet for the first time in hours. Commander Tyron paced the room. "We've seen their power," Tyron said. "We've seen what they can do." Salen looked up. "Then why haven't they asked for anything?" "They already did," Varen replied. "They asked us to stand with them. That was their price." A new message blinked on the council's main screen. "Final phase beginning. Transmission. Incoming. Prepare for decision." Varen nodded slowly. "This is it." Across Xylon Prime, all screens went black for a moment. Then a single image appeared. It was not Earth, not Xylon, not a star or a ship. It was a gate, floating in deep space, massive, ancient, circular. Its surface was covered in symbols from dozens of unknown languages. Around it, energy flickered, like lightning trapped in a storm. Then a voice followed. "Calm, human. This is the Orion Gate, the path to the outer void." A new image appeared. Earth's fleet, flying toward the gate. Behind them, far behind, came darkness. Shapes, dozens, hundreds, a vast Varkeen force, their true fleet. Commander Rel's voice returned. "They're not just coming for Xylon. They're coming for all of us." He continued, voice steady. "We found the Orion Gate during our silence. Beyond it lies the source of the Varkeen, a place where stars vanish. We are preparing to go through, to strike first, but we need allies. We need you." On the surface, chaos turned to silence. The people of Xylon listened. Then something shocking happened. The capital's sky lit up, not with battle, but with arrival. A new ship descended from Earth's fleet. Unlike the warships above, this one was round, bright, and smooth. It glowed with peaceful blue lights. It landed just outside the city. A wide door opened. From it, 3 humans stepped out, unarmed. The first was Commander Rel. He removed his helmet. For the first time in generations, the people of Xylon saw a human face in person. He looked older than expected, serious, tired, but kind. "I come in peace," he said, his voice echoing through a public speaker system. "Not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to offer peace." He paused, then raised his hand toward the sky. "You have seen our ships. You have seen our fight. But you haven't seen our choice. We chose not to become like The Varkeen. We chose to come back, to stand with you. Inside the council hall, the leaders were speechless. Arrow, the analyst, whispered, "They're asking us to join their alliance, not just for today, for the war beyond." Salin stepped forward. "I believe them," she said. "They've done more than we ever expected." Tyron looked uncertain. "But if we say yes, we go to war with something far worse." Varen finally spoke. "If we say no, we fight it alone." The council voted. It was not unanimous, but it was clear. Xylon would stand with Earth. The message was sent. Within moments, Earth's fleet responded. Blue lights lit up across the hulls of their ships. The round vessel that brought Rel extended a ramp toward the city. And from there, a portal opened. It was a transport gate, a short-range wormhole. Inside it showed another place, a docking bay aboard Vigilant Hope. Rel turned to Varen and the council, now standing before him. "Come with us. Sit with us. We leave in minutes. The real war is not here." Salin took the first step, then Varen. Then, slowly, one by one, Xylon's top. Scientists, defense leaders, and pilots followed. Aboard Vigilant Hope, a final message played for all to hear. The countdown is over. The silence is broken. The next chapter begins now. In orbit, Earth's fleet aligned with precision. The gate to the Orion void opened wider, energy surging in white-hot streams. The Varkeen had retreated for now, but beyond the gate, they were building. Earth's fleet began to move. Xylon ships followed. Together they passed through the gate and vanished. The stars shimmered, then went still. Back on Xylon Prime, the people watched the sky, unsure what would happen next. But they no longer looked with fear. They looked with hope. And for the first time in 100 years, the galaxy was united, not by peace, not by fear, but by the will to survive. The humans had returned, and they were not alone anymore.